Okay, we are live. Cool. Okay, so I am going live on multiple platforms at the same time, but I can get comments. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop in. I also want to get your thoughts on what we're going to talk about. We're going to do kind of a film analysis on Joker Folie. Do lots of people have been asking me to do it. I'm a little late to the game on this. Obviously, the bandwagon's already left on how people feel about it, but here we are. I have no idea how long this is going to take. Um, this could be a few minutes, could be longer. Uh, my mind is ablaze with all of the things that were going on with this film, and obviously the fans really not being happy. So much to the point that I have notes. So all right. So if you have any comments, feel free to pop them in the chat there, and I will check it out. But let's dive into my film analysis on Joker Folie Do. If anybody is new to the podcast or is new to my Instagram, I am a screenwriter. I am option and produced. I have films on television. I have films on TV. So those are my qualifications. I've been doing this for about 20 years. When I do these film analysis, I don't like to just do a review. Like, I don't believe in movie reviews. I don't think they give you what you really need. I feel movie reviews are exceptionally opinionated, and I like to break down why a film is working, why a film isn't working, and kind of how it's investing the audience or losing the audience. I always love the quote, those who can't criticize, and that's not who I am. I am somebody who makes films. So let's just kind of talk about what is going on in Joker Folie Do and see if we can kind of peel away the onion on why we were losing the audience, and if anything was working, why it was working. Okay. So Joker Folie Do, a Folie Do essentially means a delusion shared amongst two people. And in this case, it would be obviously between Arthur Fleck and who was Harley Quinn, but goes by Lee in the film. His love interest, there's their delusion. It's arguably said that it could also be a delusion between the director and the audience at this point, considering how much the audience did not enjoy the second film. Looking at it right now, it's got a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is quite low. Expectations for the film were more like Taxi Driver, like a sequel to Taxi Driver, and instead he kind of presented this lighthearted. I don't want to say lighthearted. He presented this lighter tone through a court drama, which is still character centered, but it's not going as deep and as dark as I guess the fans were expecting it to do. Um, why I think it started to lose the audience is when you are doing a musical, there are like, quote, rules to the musicals. And I'll walk you through a few of those and why musicals, what their rules are and why they work. And how Joker Folie Do was not utilizing these quote rules to the expectations of a musical that it would be. All right. So um when you're doing a musical, like the first big real rule of a musical is the songs. When the characters break out into songs, it is reflecting their inner thoughts, it is reflecting their inner emotions, and it's not something that is known to be happening within the world itself. So I like a girl, she doesn't like the boy. He breaks into a song about how he's interested in her. She breaks out into a song about how she's torn and doesn't like him. But that's really us hearing their inner monologue, right? It's us hearing their internal conflict displayed out for the audience, which is why musicals are so big on a stage play, because it's verbal, right? It's not really showy. Now, they're doing that, but the songs are not original songs, right? They are old Dean Martin songs. They're not originals. They're songs that are sort of interesting, or a song that you like, "I think I've heard that before, but I'm not familiar with it." That kind of pulls away from the originality of what is going inside of Arthur's mind if he's just kind of singing old show tunes. So right away, you start to lose it a little bit right there. You start to lose a little bit of the thread. The other thing, and I think of a specific scene, so I will do a few spoilers here, guys. But there's a specific scene of a musical that popped out where I was like, okay, this isn't going as big as it should be. Because the second rule of musicals is that the musical numbers go big, right? Their whole point is to really build up and amplify those big moments. They are over the top because it's a musical, right? Well, the music component to this film is very low key. It's very contained. Typically with a musical, you've got the lead breaking into song, you've got the love interest, the heart plot breaking into song, and then everybody around them gets involved. Huge dance numbers and all of this stuff. We don't really have any of that. It's very subdued. And in so doing, it's like it's almost a musical, but it's not. It's like peppering a musical on there. But the problem is you either do it or you don't. And so I think that's one of the reasons why you can start to kind of lose the audience there beyond what the expectations were. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Mention them in the comments, and I will chat about it. Uh, Typically with these musical components, and I'm going to move beyond that. I just want to give you guys some of the rules so that we kind of know what's going on, and one of the reasons why it wasn't, quote, a musical, because I really don't consider this a musical. I think it has musical flavorings, but it doesn't hit any of the notes that you would need for a musical. Like, the songs are supposed to drive the story forward, and on occasion it does that. But again, when you're just recycling old songs, it's kind of difficult to drive the story forward that way. And thinking about that one scene, it is the breakout scene where Lee and Arthur are trying to escape, and they are singing, right? And they having this musical number where they're dancing and they're dodging spotlights to kind of break out. Typically, you would have everyone involved in that scene, right? You'd have the journalists who are taking pictures through the gate. You would have the police. Everybody would be involved in this potentially big musical number where instead it's just Arthur and Lee just kind of singing to each other and escaping. And here's the part that gets different that you've never really gonna see in a musical before is everybody acknowledges that they're singing. That's the part that threw me off. The guards talk about the fact that they were singing to each other as they escaping. This is not something that is acknowledged within the musical world, which is why I think Todd Phillips says, "Hey, this is a musical." Well, it's not, because it's not following any of the rules. So the fact when they say she's singing and he's singing and everybody in the world acknowledges it, I mean, it's no longer really musical. We have broken all of the rules to it. On top of the fact that if you notice when they are singing, if you sat through this film, they are off key. And that is just like, whoa. But looking at an interview with Lady Gaga, I had to do research for this. Looking at an interview with Lady Gaga, she had to relearn how to sing to not sound as professional. That blew my mind. So she was purposely singing to be almost like an amateur. Okay. And so then I was thinking, okay, was it to match Joaquin Phoenix as he can't sing? Is that what's going on? So that the musical quality is more raw, I guess. But again, if you're going to have a musical number, you want them to be singing well. And all of that is shattered towards the end when Joaquin and Lady Gaga have a song together, and they sound incredible. She sounds like, Lady Gaga, and he sounded really good. I was like, "Oh my god, he's had pipes this whole time," but they're singing off almost on purpose because it's supposed to be part of this delusion where they are just singing to each other in real life and everybody knows it, which again, you lose the whole fantasy of the musical number. Um, I've had some more people join in, so feel free to ask questions, but So I thought that was really interesting. The fact that they're kind of singing off key and more raw on purpose to be more like people that are living off the street instead of professional singers. Okay, so the musical aspect, take that, throw it all aside. Okay, we're gonna move past that, but I did want to address it because it's not something that you really hear about. They just talk about the fact that oh, they're using old recycled essentially covers of songs, and that's why we don't like the movie. But it goes well beyond that. So uh, this is a courtroom drama. All right, that's what the film is. And as someone who has written a courtroom drama that is in post production, as in looking at a theatrical release, writing a courtroom drama, it can read as boring if you do not work in lots of action or interesting conflict that can keep it going. I don't know if any of you have seen the girl with the dragon tattoo. Okay, I don't know if anybody's seen that. Really enjoy that movie. The Norwegian version is a fantastic thriller. Well, the sequel is a courtroom drama, and it's slow. It's called The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. It's a courtroom drama. It's slower, and it's a bit more difficult to get through because that is the nature of that genre. So if Todd Phillips is directing the sequel to Joker and he's writing a courtroom drama because that's what he wants to explore, and you start to see like, oh no, this script is crawling to a stop, to a halt. You throw in the musical component to try and get a little bit more, visual spectacle there, and you end up kind of getting this mishmash. So I think it was an interesting take and some to do something that you really haven't seen before, which is like a musical light. But I can see where we're losing the audience. That being said, if you can get through the musical component and just like kind of sit and watch the courtroom drama, it is compelling. It is interesting watching Arthur reflect on what he has done and the people that he has hurt um, through his actions of the first film. I was enthralled by it. I was like, wow. And Joaquin is delivering in the courtroom aspect. You just have to get through all of the other stuff first. Um, Joker, the first film, is about a man struggling with his mental issues, right? And the system itself failing him, right? That's what the first film is about. So the second film is about that person who has mental issues, right? Trying to figure out who he is because he's going to therapy, right? And everyone in his life, and this is the second film, everyone in his life is telling him who he is based on what they want him to be. That is very interesting, very compelling, and I enjoyed that aspect of the film. Arthur is trying to find himself. The guards are very nice to him and they treat him like a pet. And so to him, he's their friend, but they abuse him, right? So that version of Arthur is a docile, tell me a joke, Arthur, and I get a cigarette type of character. So to him, he's them. To Harley or to Lee, he is the Joker. He is the living embodiment of chaos, right? He is damn the man. I'm going to do what I want. But that's not who he wants to be either. He just wants to be Arthur. He just wants to be loved for him, not for who you think he is. That is fantastic, character building and theme throughout the film. That is there. If you peel away all of the other musical stuff and all the other distractions, that part is revealed in the courtroom drama, and it's fascinating. It's just it gets lost. So if you can sit through that, there's actually a lot to be said towards the back half of the film. And then there's this surprise ending that kind of leads into the Dark Knight movies, which I found very interesting. I don't know if that was tacked on or if that was planned, but I did like it. But it uh, audience audience members and I guess fans are pissed off because it feels like a slap to the face. But essentially, the director has every right to do what he wants with the character he's created. So it really comes down to audience expectation versus fan service. Is a director owed to an audience to deliver them what they expect, or does the director have a story that he wants to tell in the way that he wants to tell it? And that's where the controversy is. And I think that's where it gets lost because I could see where you want to serve the fans because the fans have taken time out of their life. They have paid good money. They sit down. They want to watch Joaquin Phoenix make the world burn. Okay. The director wants to explore this interesting character that he has built into the Joker into a real life situation of what would happen if they were in court, told through a musical. I got a question. Yes, I am recording this podcast. Again, I didn't know how long it was going to go. If it hits over 15 minutes, I will just make this one of my episodes, and I will post it out there. But I did want to kind of get into this because a few people had asked me to kind of break down Joker. So those are my thoughts, my analysis of the Joker film. I thought it was really good. Of who am I? That's really what the big question is with Joker Folie Deux, Arthur Fleck. Am I who Lee wants me to be? Am I who my lawyer wants me to be? Because in the film, the lawyer wanted him to be crazy. You're mentally unstable. That's what they wanted. The cops want him to be docile. And so if we look at it as a theme of who am I, right? And then we break that down between all of the subplots of the security guards, the lawyer, and Lee or Harley Quinn of who I am, then it all starts to make sense. It's about identity. And finally, spoiler, Arthur accepts, hey, I am me. I'm not who you think I am. I want to be loved for me. I don't want to be loved because I made some bad decisions um, in the first film. I don't want to be loved because I'm this docile pet of yours. I want to be loved for Arthur. And I think that was really great. And then after his arc is completed, what happens? He's ended, right? Because there is nowhere else for him to go. So it makes total sense. Spoiler alert, that he is killed in the end because his arc is over. So when people are mad, oh, how could you do this to him? How could you kill him off? That's what you do. When the character is done, he either, retires off on his own and is never seen again, but, that's not going to happen with Arthur, or he's ended and this game over. Let me see if I have any questions here, guys. All right. If you guys have any questions, pop them in the comments there, and I will answer them. Otherwise, I'm gonna hop off of here and do my thing. Okay, yeah. Some people were enjoying the film. I think that's awesome, and I'm glad I was able to kind of walk you through my 2 cents on it. Walk through the theme, and then the musical kind of aspect of it, and then the fact that it's a courtroom drama. All right, guys, I will save this episode. I will put it out in a few weeks. If you guys enjoyed this kind of live version of my film analysis, bumbling aside, let me know. I will do more of these weekly. Also, if you have a film that you want me to check out, message me and I will take a look at it. And make sure you go to the Successful Screenwriter podcast and check out all my back episodes. I've got a lot going on there. And if you have questions on screenwriting, feel free to message me, and I'm always happy to discuss those live. Have a good one, guys.